You ever feel like life's testing you? Like no matter how hard you try, people still overlook you. Women lose interest, opportunities slip away, and you start asking yourself, what's missing? It's not luck, it's not timing, it's you. Because here's the truth most men never hear. You don't need to do more, you need to become more. You need to learn the art of living like a stoic, calm under fire, detached from chaos, and focused on what truly matters. See, most men chase everything outside them. They chase approval, they chase attention, they chase the next high from people, from success, from women. But what if the real power came from not chasing at all? What if the more you let go, the more you attract? That's where Stoicism comes in. It's not some old philosophy carved in stone. It's a living mindset, a code for men who want to walk through life like warriors, centered, grounded, and untouchable. But here's the problem. Nobody teaches men how to think like this anymore. You're told to prove your worth, to be nice, to show your emotions. You're told that giving endlessly makes you strong, when in reality, it makes you forgettable. Because when a man gives everything away, his attention, his time, his peace, he becomes empty. And an empty man can't lead, can't attract, and can't build anything real. So ask yourself, why do you get anxious when people pull away? Why do you keep explaining yourself when someone disrespects you? Why do you lower your standards just to feel chosen? Deep down, it's because you forgot your power. You forgot that peace and presence make you magnetic, not effort. This video will change that, because in the next few minutes, you'll learn 11 Stoic strategies that'll make you stronger, calmer, and more respected, without pretending, chasing, or proving a thing. By the end, you'll understand why the quietest man in the room is often the most powerful one. So, are you ready to stop reacting and start becoming? The first Stoic strategy, detachment, is your superpower. What if I told you the strongest man is not the one who controls others, but the one who controls himself? Sounds simple, right? But here's the twist. Most men don't even realize they're prisoners, not of a cage, not of a system, but of their emotions. Think about it. How many times have you lost sleep because of something someone said? How many times did you replay a text message in your head, wondering what it really meant? How many times did you give someone the power to ruin your mood just because they didn't respond the way you hoped? That's not strength, brother. That's emotional slavery. And here's the bitter truth. Most people live their whole lives chained to reactions. They're like puppets dancing to the strings of other people's behavior. A small insult ruins their day. A rejection breaks their confidence. A little silence makes them doubt their worth. But what if you stopped reacting? What if your peace couldn't be touched, no matter what anyone said or did? That's detachment. That's power in silence. Detachment doesn't mean you stop caring. It means you stop clinging. It means you don't let anyone's behavior control your inner temperature. Let me ask you, when a woman tests your patience, do you react or remain calm? When someone disrespects you, do you get loud or do you let silence make them question themselves? When life throws chaos at you, do you fight every wave or do you stand still and let it pass? See, Stoics understood something modern men forget. Peace is not given to you. Peace is something you build through mastery of self. Marcus Aurelius once said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." But here's the catch. Detachment isn't built overnight. It's forged in silence, in solitude. In those moments when you want to speak but choose to stay quiet. When you want to chase but choose to walk away. When you want to explain yourself but realize you don't owe anyone a performance. That's when your aura starts to shift. People start to notice it too. You talk less. You move slower. Your eyes hold calm, not chaos. And without even trying, you become magnetic. Why? Because calmness in a world full of noise is rare. Because when everyone else is chasing attention, you become the one who draws it naturally. You stop needing validation, and that's when the world starts offering it to you. You stop chasing connection, and that's when people begin craving your presence. You stop proving your worth, and that's when you start radiating it. That's what detachment does. It turns you from the one seeking energy into the one others revolve around. So the next time someone tries to get under your skin, pause, don't react, don't explain, just smile a little and let silence remind them who they're dealing with, because silence backed by strength is louder than words spoken in weakness. This is where your power begins, not by controlling others, but by controlling yourself. The second Stoic strategy: control your emotions, control your life. Here's a hard truth. Most men don't lose in life because they're weak. They lose because they can't stay calm when it matters most. You ever notice how one text, one argument, one look can make you feel like the world's collapsing? How one emotional wave can drown your logic, your peace, your focus, just like that? That's not bad luck. That's lack of control. And let me ask you something. How many opportunities have you destroyed because of a reaction? How many relationships have you pushed away because your emotions took the driver's seat? How many times have you looked back and said, "I wish I'd stayed calm"? Because every time you lose your cool, you lose power. See, the world respects calm men, not loud ones, not emotional ones, not the ones who crumble when they don't get their way. People trust men who stay grounded when others panic. They follow the one who doesn't flinch when chaos hits. And that's what Stoicism teaches. You cannot control what happens to you, but you can control how you respond. That's your real weapon. But let's be real, staying calm isn't easy. When someone disrespects you, your ego screams for revenge. When a woman pulls away, your mind starts racing for answers. When things don't go your way, that inner voice starts whispering that you're not enough. It's human. But that's where discipline comes in. Not the kind that makes you robotic, but the kind that makes you unshakable. Here's how you know you're evolving: when your emotions stop being your master and start becoming your messenger. Instead of reacting, you pause, you observe, you ask yourself, what is this feeling trying to teach me? Anger means a boundary was crossed. Jealousy means you've lost focus on your lane. Fear means you're stepping into growth. The Stoics knew emotions are not the enemy. Uncontrolled emotions are. It's like fire. You can cook with it, or you can burn everything down. And most men, they burn, because they never learned how to use it. When you start mastering your emotions, people feel it. Your tone changes, your energy shifts, your aura becomes calm. You stop reacting to drama. You stop begging for clarity. You stop chasing closure. You realize peace is the only response that ever wins long-term. Women notice it too. When you stay calm in moments she expects you to break, you don't just seem confident, you are confident, because your calmness signals strength. And strength, my friend, is what people trust and what women respect. That's why you must learn to respond, not react. It's not weakness, it's wisdom. It's not silence out of fear, it's silence out of control. You become the man who walks away from arguments that no longer deserve your energy. You stop explaining yourself to people committed to misunderstanding you. You stop trying to prove your worth through emotions, because your composure already speaks louder than words ever could. So next time you feel that rush, the urge to snap, to text, to defend, pause, take a breath. Remember, reacting gives them control, responding gives you power, because the man who can stay calm when everything falls apart is the man who eventually ends up building everything better. The third Stoic strategy, the power of absence. You ever wonder why silence makes people uncomfortable? Why your absence suddenly makes others curious, even guilty, even drawn back to you? Strange, isn't it? When you're always available, people take you for granted. When you disappear for a while, they start to feel your value. That's not manipulation, that's human psychology. Here's the truth most men never learn. Your absence is not weakness, it's leverage. But here's where most men mess up. They confuse absence with avoidance. They think stepping back is a game, a tactic to get someone to chase. It's not. Absence is not about her, it's about you. It's about recentering your energy. It's about returning to your purpose. It's about creating space, not to punish, but to rebuild your power, because when you're constantly present, you become predictable, and predictable things lose their spark. Let's be real. How many times have you given too much, stayed too long, tried too hard, only to end up feeling invisible? You text first, you plan everything, you explain yourself endlessly, and still nothing changes. The more you give, the less you're valued. That's the problem. Your presence became cheap because you didn't let your absence raise its price. Every man needs to understand this. Space creates value, silence creates mystery, distance creates respect. Think about it. The sun is admired because it rises and sets. If it stayed in the sky all the time, no one would look up in awe. Your presence works the same way. When you start to prioritize your goals, your body, your peace, you naturally become less available, and that absence makes your presence more powerful, because now when you show up, it means something. But here's the deeper part. Absence also reveals the truth. When you step back, you see who reaches out, who values you, who only loved your attention but not your presence. And that truth? It saves you from wasting years on people who only came for the benefits of your energy. See, Stoic men don't chase validation. They attract it by living in alignment. They don't crave attention. They create attention through purpose. That's the difference between boys and men. A boy seeks comfort in being seen. A man finds strength in being missed. So when you pull your energy back, not to play game, but to grow, the world feels it. Your silence becomes loud, your distance becomes magnetic, because you're not hiding, you're building. And here's the twist. The more you focus on your path, the more people start noticing you again. Why? Because energy follows focus, and when your focus returns to your mission, your aura shifts. You stop trying to impress, you start to express. You stop needing connection, you start commanding it. That's the secret nobody tells you. The power of absence isn't about walking away from people. It's about walking toward yourself. It's that moment when you choose your peace over attention, your growth over approval, your time over drama, and in doing so you become scarce. And scarcity, my friend, is what the world always chases. So the next time you feel disrespected, overlooked or undervalued, don't argue, don't explain, don't demand their effort, just vanish. Not out of anger, but out of self-respect. Because sometimes the loudest message you can send is your silence, and the most powerful thing you can give to anyone is your absence. The game of energy, why she feels you before she sees you. Have you ever noticed how sometimes, even before you speak, she already senses you? It's like she feels your presence, whether you're confident, needy, calm, or uncertain, before you've said a single word. But here's the mystery most men never uncover. It's not your looks, it's not your clothes, it's not even your words, it's the energy you bring. And that energy, the one that silently speaks before you do, is either pulling her in or pushing her away. Think about this. Why is it that when a man walks into a room without saying a word, people still turn to look at him? Why does she suddenly feel drawn to some men, even if they're not the most handsome or rich? And why do some men, no matter how hard they try, always seem invisible to women, even when they say and do all the right things? The answer hides beneath everything we've been taught to ignore, our energetic presence. See, a man who has mastered his energy doesn't chase validation. He doesn't need to talk loudly to be heard. He doesn't try to prove himself to anyone. He radiates something rare, a calm, grounded power that says, "I'm enough." That energy makes her feel safe yet curious. It makes her want to understand what kind of man doesn't bend under pressure, who isn't moved by approval or rejection. That's when attraction stops being physical and becomes spiritual. Now let's ask the real questions. Why do you lose that energy the moment she pulls away? Why do you become restless, overthink your next text, or replay what went wrong? Why do you feel your energy drop the second she seems uninterested? It's because most men leak their power through emotional reactions. They let her actions dictate their state.
They lose center.
They lose mystery. And when you lose your emotional center, your energy becomes unstable, and she feels it. Women are highly intuitive to emotional vibrations. They can feel the energy shift when a man goes from calm to anxious, when his peace turns into need, when his patience turns into pressure. She doesn't consciously analyze it, but something inside her whispers, he's not stable, he's not sure of himself. And once she feels that, attraction begins to fade. Here's the truth that separates ordinary men from stoic ones. The most magnetic men don't chase emotions, they control them. They protect their energy like it's gold. They know when to pull back and let silence work. They understand that presence doesn't mean effort, it means control. And that calm control is the rarest form of dominance in today's world. When you learn to control your energy, your words carry weight, your silence gains meaning. Your presence becomes your power, because she doesn't fall for your looks or your lines, she falls for the way she feels around you. And that feeling comes from your internal state, not your external actions. So let's flip the script for a second. What if instead of chasing, you simply focused on strengthening your inner frequency? What if every moment she withdrew, you didn't react, but instead recentered yourself? What if your peace became so strong that no woman could shake it? Because here's the paradox. The moment you stop trying to control her and start mastering your energy, you gain control without even trying. She'll begin to wonder why you're so calm, why her silence doesn't affect you, why your energy feels steady when every other man gets emotional. That's when you become unforgettable. Because while other men fight for her attention, you're anchored in something deeper, your own essence. The world might call it detachment, but in truth it's energetic mastery. It's when you move through life not needing to prove your worth because your presence already speaks for it. You become the man she can't quite figure out, the one who doesn't demand, doesn't beg, doesn't lose his cool, the one who commands attention through stillness, not effort. And that's when she feels it, deep in her gut, that this isn't just another man. This is a man with energy she can trust, admire, and crave. Because in the end, the real game was never about chasing women, it was about protecting your frequency. Master that, and you'll never need to chase again. The art of silent power. How stillness makes her chase you. Have you ever wondered why some men say nothing, yet somehow they say everything? Why a man's silence can sometimes create more attraction than 1,000 words ever could? Why women become obsessed with the ones who don't over-explain, don't over-text, and don't overreact? It's because silence, when used with presence, becomes a weapon. A man who masters silence radiates mystery, strength, and control. He doesn't chase attention, he draws it. Let's look deeper for a second. Why do most men panic when the conversation slows down? Why do they rush to fill the silence with words, jokes, compliments, or endless explanations? Why do they fear losing her interest when the energy becomes still? It's because most men were never taught that silence is power. They were taught that to keep her attention, they must perform. So they talk, explain, react, and overcompensate, until they lose the very essence that makes them masculine. But what if the truth was the opposite? What if your ability to remain calm and quiet, to stay grounded in moments when others panic, is the very thing that makes her feel your strength? Here's what most men don't realize. A woman feels your energy far more than she hears your words. So when you become still, grounded, and centered, your silence becomes charged. It speaks louder than your voice ever could. Think about it. Why do women say things like, "He had a mysterious vibe," or "There's something about his presence"? It's because silence creates space, and in that space, curiosity is born. When you stop trying to explain yourself, you give her room to wonder about you. When you stop rushing to fix or chase, you allow her to feel your calm dominance. And when you stop filling every gap with words, your presence starts to speak for you. But here's the challenge. Most men can't sit in silence because they can't handle themselves. They fidget, they worry, they overthink. They start wondering, is she bored? Is she losing interest? Should I say something? That's not masculine energy. That's emotional insecurity dressed in politeness. And the irony? The moment you start talking to escape silence, she feels your nervousness. Your energy tells her you're not in control, and she subconsciously pulls back. Because a woman's instincts are wired to sense strength in stillness. She wants a man who doesn't fold under pressure. A man whose peace is louder than chaos. A man who doesn't need to do to prove he is. Now let's ask the real question. When was the last time you sat across from a woman and didn't rush to fill the silence? When was the last time you let your eyes do the talking instead of your mouth? When was the last time you allowed the energy between you to build instead of trying to control it? Because that moment, that uncomfortable silence, is where attraction grows strongest. That's when she starts to feel something she can't quite explain. A pull, a magnetism, a sense that you're different. While other men chase her comfort, you stand in your power. While they seek approval, you stay unbothered, and that unshakable calm becomes your greatest advantage. Let's go even deeper. Silence isn't just about not speaking, it's about listening with presence. When she talks, don't just hear her words, feel her energy. Notice her tone, her pauses, her eyes. Be completely there. Because the man who listens fully, without trying to impress or fix, gives her something she rarely feels, understanding. And that's where deep emotional connection begins. True stillness isn't passive, it's powerful. It's the quiet confidence that says, I don't need to force anything, I am enough. When you move from that place, your silence becomes magnetic. Your calm energy begins to lead the dynamic, and she starts to follow, emotionally, mentally, even physically. Remember this truth, the loudest man in the room often has the weakest presence, but the quiet man, the one who speaks few words with great weight, holds the real authority. You don't need to prove your worth by talking. You prove it by being, by showing restraint when others rush, by letting stillness be your signal of control. That's what separates a man who wants her from a man who attracts her. Because she doesn't crave noise, she craves peace. And if your presence can give her that peace, she'll chase your silence just to feel it again. So the next time you're with her, stop trying to perform, stop over-explaining, stop forcing connection. Just be there, fully, quietly, calmly. Because in a world full of noise, the man who masters silence becomes unforgettable. He becomes the mystery she wants to solve, the calm she wants to feel, and the presence she can't escape. The psychology of emotional distance, how space creates desire. Why is it that the moment you stop trying, people start trying for you? Why does your silence suddenly make her curious? Why does your distance start to pull her closer, like an invisible thread she can't ignore? Sounds strange, doesn't it? You'd think closeness would build connection, but often it's distance that makes it grow. Here's the truth most men never understand. Attraction needs space. Without space, there's no tension. Without tension, there's no curiosity. And without curiosity, there's no desire. Think about it. When you're always available, always texting back instantly, always emotionally open, what happens? You become predictable, and predictability kills emotional excitement. See, desire isn't born in comfort, it's born in uncertainty, in mystery, in that quiet wondering of what's he thinking? Where's he been? Why do I miss him? That's emotional distance, not coldness, not games, but space that allows someone to feel your absence. Let's ask something real. Why do most men feel panic when they sense emotional distance from a woman? Why do they start chasing, over-communicating, or begging for reassurance? Why do they think closeness must be forced instead of earned? because they confuse connection with control. They think being emotionally open means constantly proving love, constantly checking in, constantly being there. But that kind of emotional pressure doesn't attract, it suffocates. And ironically, the harder you hold on, the more she slips away. The more you try to control connection, the less she feels it. Let's shift perspective. Think about your favorite song. If it played on repeat 24/7, would it still move you? No, it would lose its magic. Because what makes music powerful is the silence between notes. What makes love powerful is the space between moments. A woman's desire for you doesn't grow when you're always around. It grows in the gaps, in the space where she starts to miss you. That missing, that wondering is what reignites her attraction. So the next time you feel the urge to fix things, to call, to text, to explain, pause. Ask yourself, is this action coming from power or from fear? Because power doesn't chase. Power creates space and lets the other person step into it willingly. Here's where emotional mastery ties in. Emotional distance isn't about being cold or indifferent. It's about being centered enough to not react, to let someone pull away without losing your calm, to stay grounded when things feel uncertain. Most men fail right here. They crumble when they sense withdrawal. They assume something's wrong with them. So they overgive, over-explain, or try to please their way back into closeness. But here's the Stoic truth. Your value isn't lost just because someone stops validating it. It remains untouched as long as you remain anchored in your purpose and peace. That's what makes emotional distance powerful. It shows that your happiness doesn't depend on anyone else's mood. It communicates strength without saying a single word. Now think of this, when a woman feels your absence, she begins to question her own emotions. Why do I miss him? Why am I thinking about him? What is it about his calm that makes me crave his energy again? That's the psychology of emotional distance. It creates curiosity. And curiosity is the birthplace of desire. When she feels you're not rushing to connect, she wonders what's pulling your attention. When she senses your focus isn't all on her, she wants it again. When she feels you could walk away peacefully, she fights to pull you back emotionally. But let's be clear, this isn't manipulation, it's magnetism. You're not pretending to be busy, you're genuinely living a life that doesn't orbit around her. You're giving her something rare, the experience of missing a man who is whole without her. Because a man who can walk away emotionally is a man who isn't dependent. And that independence, that inner freedom, is irresistible. You see, emotional distance allows love to breathe. It creates polarity, the magnetic push and pull that keeps relationships alive. When you remove that polarity through constant presence and reassurance, you drain the attraction. So instead of forcing closeness, learn to respect space. Instead of reacting, choose calmness. Instead of chasing, embody presence. Because the more emotionally self-contained you become, the more she feels drawn to reconnect with you. Not out of need, but out of want. Emotional distance doesn't kill connection. It refines it. It filters out the needy, the insecure, and the temporary, and reveals who truly values your presence. And the moment you master this art of being close yet independent, loving yet detached, you'll notice something shift. People start respecting you more. They start reaching out first. They start matching your effort instead of testing it. Because your energy no longer says, please don't leave. It says, I'll be fine whether you stay or go. And that quiet confidence is the foundation of all power in relationships. The aura of self-worth. How a man's value speaks before he does. Have you ever noticed how some men don't even have to speak, yet people feel their presence? They walk into a room, no flash, no flex, no loud energy, and still everything around them shifts. Women glance twice, men move aside. There's a quiet confidence, an invisible gravity, like their energy says, I know who I am, and I don't need your validation to prove it. What is that? What creates that kind of aura? Why do some men naturally command respect, while others keep begging for it? Why does one man attract attention just by existing, while another gets ignored even when he's trying his best? Let's go deeper, because this right here is not about looks, status, or even words. It's about self-worth. It's about the silent energy that leaks out of you even when you say nothing. And the truth is, every man carries an aura that tells the world exactly how he feels about himself. Here's the problem. Most men try to build attraction outwardly before they ever build it inwardly. They focus on looks. They focus on trying to impress. They focus on being liked. But what happens when you chase being liked? You start performing. You start bending. You start editing yourself just to fit into someone else's comfort zone. And slowly your aura, that natural masculine presence, starts to dim. Because instead of living in your own energy, you're living in reaction to others. You know that feeling, right? When you walk into a room and suddenly you start thinking about how you look, what to say, how to act. That's not presence. That's anxiety disguised as awareness. It's your mind saying, I hope I'm enough. And the truth? The moment you think that, your energy already tells the world you don't believe it. Now let's flip it. What if you walked into that same room not trying to prove anything, not trying to convince anyone to like you? What if your energy simply said, I'm here because I belong here. Whether you notice me or not, I still win. That's the shift. That's self-worth in motion. And people feel it. See, self-worth isn't something you shout, it's something you radiate. It's in the way you stand. It's in how calm you are when others get reactive. It's in your ability to walk away from what doesn't serve you without needing to explain. That's why women are drawn to men who have it, because it feels stable, it feels rare, it feels like safety mixed with strength. But here's the trap most men fall into. They think self-worth means arrogance. It doesn't. Arrogance says, I'm better than you. Self-worth says, I don't need to compare. It's quiet, it's subtle, it's powerful. The man with self-worth doesn't rush. He doesn't chase validation because his value isn't borrowed from other people's approval. He doesn't brag. He builds. He doesn't talk about what he'll do. He's already doing it. That's what forms the aura. It's your energy matching your reality. When your words, actions, and values align, people can feel it. You don't have to announce who you are. Your energy does it for you. Now here's something no one talks about. Every time you settle for less than you deserve, your aura weakens. Every time you explain yourself when silence would have been stronger, your aura fades. Every time you betray your standards just to keep someone, you chip away at your self-worth. And slowly your confidence stops feeling real, because deep down you know you've been negotiating your value. That's the emotional cost of being too available, too giving, too accommodating. It empties your sense of power. See, your aura doesn't come from what you get, it comes from what you refuse to compromise on. It's built through the choices you make when no one's watching. It's formed by the standards you keep, even when they cost you people. So let me ask you something. Do you still explain yourself to people who already made up their mind about you? Do you still chase after those who constantly make you prove your worth? Do you still hand your energy to those who wouldn't even meet you halfway? If you do, that's where your peace leaks out. That's where your aura dims. Because the man who knows his worth doesn't chase respect. He commands it by being consistent with his principles. And here's what's crazy. Once you reach that level of detachment and self-respect, people who once ignored you start noticing you again. Not because you changed for them, but because you stopped centering them. Your energy became self-contained, your attention returned to your mission, and that's when your aura glows without trying. Here's the ultimate truth. A man's aura is not built by being perfect. It's built by being real, by being honest about who he is, by embracing his calm, by standing on his principles when it's hardest, by not needing the world to clap before he believes in himself. That's what separates ordinary men from rare ones. That's what creates the quiet gravity that pulls the right people toward you and repels the wrong ones. So from today on, stop trying to prove your value. Start living like you already have it. Stop performing for attention. Start protecting your peace. Stop giving everyone access to your energy. Start earning your own respect first, because once you have that, everything else follows naturally. And when people feel that calm, quiet power, that unshakable belief in yourself, they don't just notice you, they remember you. Stoic Scarcity. How limiting your energy builds respect, desire, and power. Ever notice how people want you more when you stop being so available? It's strange, right? You could be giving your all, showing up every day, doing everything right, and still they take you for granted. But the moment you disappear a little, the moment you stop explaining, stop chasing, stop giving your attention so freely, something changes. Suddenly they notice. Suddenly they remember your worth. Suddenly they want access again. Why does that happen? Why do people only seem to value what's scarce? Why does your energy become magnetic the moment you stop handing it out like free samples? Let's break this down, because this is not about playing games. This is about energy management, not emotional manipulation. Scarcity, when done consciously, is one of the most powerful Stoic tools you can use to build respect, attraction, and peace. See, the world today runs on excess. Too much noise, too much scrolling, too much talking, proving, showing, chasing. Everyone's available, 24/7. Everyone's online, reachable, desperate to be seen. So what happens when you're not? When you step back, when you become rare, you instantly stand out. Not because you said something special, but because your silence carries weight, because your energy feels expensive. That's what most men don't understand. Your presence loses value when it's always accessible. You can't be respected if you never create distance. You can't be desired if you're constantly around. Even gold loses its shine when it's everywhere. Here's the problem. Most men give too much attention, time, effort, emotions, thinking that being more available means being more loved, but it doesn't work that way. It creates the opposite effect. Because when people realize they can have your time anytime, they stop valuing it. When they can text you at 2 a.m. and still get a reply, they subconsciously feel your energy costs nothing, and what costs nothing holds no value. That's the brutal truth. But Stoic Scarcity flips that. It teaches you that your energy is a form of currency, and when you start treating it like that, your life changes. Let's say you're a man who's always chasing validation, replying instantly, showing up first, trying to please. What happens? You drain yourself, you burn your focus, and deep down, resentment builds because you're always giving, never receiving. But when you live with scarcity, everything flips. You stop reacting, you start choosing. You give your time intentionally. You spend your energy like it's precious because it is. That's when people start noticing. That's when they start asking, what happened to you? Because now your absence speaks louder than your words ever could. And let's be clear, this isn't about cutting people off or ghosting. It's about prioritizing yourself. It's about being so focused on your mission, your peace, and your purpose that not everyone gets equal access to you. It's not about being cold, it's about being calculated. A man of value isn't everywhere. He's selective, he's intentional. He doesn't need to post every move, reply to every message, or attend every event. His presence feels earned. That's what women find magnetic. That's what commands respect from other men. That's what builds mystery and attraction, not because you're unavailable, but because you're focused. Let me tell you something powerful. Scarcity doesn't push people away. It filters who deserves to stay. Because those who truly respect your value won't be scared of your distance. They'll rise to meet your standards. They'll respect your boundaries. They'll understand that your absence isn't punishment, it's purpose. But those who depended on your constant attention to feel important, they'll fade away, and that's a gift. Because scarcity isn't just about attracting others, it's about protecting yourself from energy leaks. There's something about a man who's not easily accessed, a man who chooses where his time goes, a man whose silence has more power than another man's noise. He doesn't talk too much. He doesn't chase validation. He lets his actions and his absence define his worth. And guess what happens when you live like that? People start craving your presence. They start wondering what you're up to. They start competing for your time because now it feels earned. That's the paradox of power. When you stop trying to be wanted, you become irresistible. When you stop over-explaining, people start listening. When you stop chasing, they start chasing you. Here's what you must understand. Scarcity isn't about faking distance. It's about naturally creating it by living a rich, meaningful life. A man who's busy building, learning, improving. He doesn't have to force scarcity. His purpose creates it for him. So instead of asking, how can I make them want me? Ask, what can I build that makes my life too fulfilling to chase anyone? Because that's the secret. Your absence only has power if your presence has substance. Don't just disappear, evolve while you're gone. So when they see you again, they realize they lost more than your attention. They lost access to your growth. Remember this, scarcity amplifies everything rare, your time, your attention, your energy, your peace. So protect it like it's sacred, because once you do, your world becomes quieter, clearer, stronger. People stop wasting your time. Your relationships get deeper, and your confidence, it skyrockets. You're not being cold. You're being calm. You're not ignoring people. You're investing in yourself. And that's the moment you stop chasing validation and start commanding respect. The Stoic Reset. How to rebuild your mind, energy, and direction. Ever feel like life is spinning out of control? Like no matter what you do, you're drained, overlooked, or trapped in chaos? Yeah, it happens. But here's the thing. Most men never stop to reset. They keep reacting, chasing, worrying, looking outside themselves for validation. And that's exactly why they get stuck. They're giving energy to the wrong places. They're letting chaos control their mind, their emotions, their actions. So here's the question. How do you stop that? How do you take back control over your mind, your energy, your life? How do you live in a way that commands respect, creates attraction, and builds peace, all without chasing or proving yourself? Or mistakes over and over. A stoic mind doesn't react emotionally to everything. It evaluates, filters, and decides what deserves attention. You can't rebuild if your thoughts are messy. Ask yourself, what is real? What matters? What is worth my energy? Because every second you waste on drama is a second you're not building your life. Every thought you let control you is a thought that steals your freedom. Step 2. Energy is currency. Remember what we said about scarcity? This is the ultimate application. Your energy isn't infinite. Who gets it and how much they get is your choice. Stop overcommitting. Stop saying yes to people who drain you. Stop reacting to everything. Instead, invest your energy wisely in growth, in skill, in purpose. When you do that, your life becomes magnetic, not because you're trying to impress anyone, but because your energy is valuable. And humans naturally gravitate to what has value. Step 3. Your direction shapes your destiny. A man without purpose drifts. He reacts to every insult, every temptation, every distraction. A man with purpose attracts naturally. He doesn't need to chase. He doesn't need to prove anything. His life already has meaning, and people want to be part of it. Ask yourself, am I living for myself, or am I living to please others? Is my time spent building or just surviving? When your answer is clear, detachment becomes natural. Absence isn't manipulation, it's a byproduct of living a life worth living. Step 4. Emotions under control, not suppressed. Most men think stoicism is about bottling up feelings. Wrong. It's about mastery. Control doesn't mean you ignore anger, frustration, or hurt. It means you understand them, process them, and act with clarity. You don't lash out. You don't beg for attention. You respond with calm, and calm is magnetic. Calm shows stability, strength, and self-worth, all the traits people respect and follow. Step 5. Confidence built from competence, not validation. Forget material status, forget external approval. Real confidence is knowing your value, trusting your skills, and standing firm in who you are. Every time you improve a skill, every time you control a situation calmly, every time you protect your energy, you build unshakable confidence. This confidence radiates, people notice, attraction, respect, influence, they all follow naturally. So here's the final truth. You now have the tools, you understand how detachment preserves your peace. How self-worth and purpose make people want to be part of your life. How scarcity protects your energy and increases value. How emotional mastery projects strength. How genuine confidence comes from competence and self-approval. If you apply this consistently, life changes. You don't just react anymore. You act with power. You live with freedom. You attract without chasing. You walk in peace, knowing your energy, time, and presence are sacred. This isn't theory. This is actionable Stoic wisdom. The reset is complete the moment you decide, I control my mind, my energy, and my life. Everything else, respect, attraction, influence follows automatically. You've been given the solution, not tomorrow, not someday, right now. Your life can level up starting at this moment.